Are you tired of constantly overthinking every decision in your life? Looking for a way to find peace of mind and stop the endless cycle of worrying? In this video, we will delve into the spiritual teachings of Buddhism, exploring practical ways to quiet the mind and find lasting peace. Lesson 1. Reflect on your reactions. In the teachings of Buddhism, one of the most fundamental principles for overcoming overthinking is the practice of reflection, particularly in relation to our reactions. Our reactions to the events and circumstances of our lives often determine the quality of our experiences, and they can either perpetuate our suffering or lead us towards liberation. By learning to reflect on our reactions, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of our mental processes and begin to transform our habitual patterns of overthinking. The first step in reflecting on our reactions is to develop mindfulness, which is the ability to be fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations as they arise in each moment. Mindfulness allows us to observe our reactions without becoming identified with them, creating a space of clarity and non-judgment in which we can explore their true nature. To cultivate mindfulness, we can engage in various meditation practices, such as focusing on the breath, body scans, or loving-kindness meditation. These practices help us to develop a strong foundation of present-moment awareness, which we can then apply to the exploration of our reactions in daily life. By engaging in this process of inquiry, we can begin to see the conditioned patterns of our mind more clearly, recognizing how our reactions are often based on misperceptions, attachments, and aversions. This insight allows us to break free from the cycle of overthinking, as we learn to respond to our experiences with greater wisdom and compassion. One of the key insights that arises from reflecting on our reactions is the understanding of impermanence. In Buddhism, it is taught that all phenomena are impermanent, constantly arising and passing away. Our thoughts and emotions are no exception to this rule, and by recognizing their transient nature, we can begin to loosen our grip on them. When we become caught up in overthinking, we often cling to our thoughts and emotions, believing them to be solid and enduring. However, through reflection, we can see that they are merely temporary appearances in the mind, like clouds passing through the sky. This understanding helps us to develop a greater sense of detachment and equanimity, allowing our reactions to arise and dissolve without becoming entangled in them. Another important aspect of reflecting on our reactions is the cultivation of self-compassion. Overthinking is often fueled by a critical inner voice, which judges and condemns us for our perceived failings and shortcomings. By developing self-compassion, we can learn to relate to ourselves with kindness and understanding, softening the harsh edges of our inner dialogue. Self-compassion involves recognizing that we are not alone in our struggles, and that all beings experience suffering and imperfection. It also involves treating ourselves with the same care and concern that we would offer to a dear friend, acknowledging our pain and offering comfort and support. By cultivating self-compassion, we can create a nurturing inner environment in which our reactions can be held with gentleness and understanding, rather than harsh judgment and criticism. Reflecting on our reactions also involves the cultivation of wisdom. Wisdom, in the Buddhist sense, refers to the ability to see things as they truly are, freed from the distortions of our conditioned patterns and habitual tendencies. By developing wisdom, we can learn to discern the underlying causes of our reactions and address them at their root, rather than merely treating the symptoms. One of the primary ways in which we cultivate wisdom is by examining the three marks of existence, which are impermanence, satisfactoriness, and non-self. By reflecting on these three characteristics of our experiences, we can gain a deeper understanding of the nature of reality and begin to see through the illusions that fuel our overthinking. For example, when we reflect on the impermanence of our thoughts and emotions, we can see that they are not fixed or solid entities, but rather fleeting and transitory phenomena. This understanding helps us to let go of our attachment to them and find greater freedom in the present moment. When we reflect on the satisfactoriness of our reactions, we can see that they often lead to suffering and discontent, rather than genuine happiness and well-being. This insight encourages us to seek out more skillful and wholesome responses to our experiences, fostering greater peace and harmony in our lives. When we reflect on the non-self nature of our reactions, we can see that they are not inherently ours, but rather the result of impersonal causes and conditions. This realization helps us to loosen our identification with our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to experience a greater sense of interconnectedness and unity with all beings. Reflecting on our reactions is a powerful practice for overcoming overthinking and cultivating inner peace. By developing mindfulness, investigating our reactions, understanding impermanence, cultivating self-compassion, and developing wisdom, we can transform our habitual patterns of overthinking and find lasting freedom from the tyranny of our own minds. This process of reflection is not a quick fix or an easy solution, but rather a lifelong journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Lesson 2. Perform a kind gesture for another. Kindness and compassion are seen as essential qualities on the path to enlightenment. When we perform a kind gesture for another, we not only bring happiness to their lives, but we also cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment. By shifting our focus from our own worries to the needs of others, we can find a respite from overthinking and experience the joy of connection and service. The practice of performing kind gestures for others is known as metta, or loving kindness, in Buddhism. It is a powerful antidote to the self-centeredness that often fuels overthinking. When we focus on the well-being of others, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of treating one another with kindness and respect. Performing kind gestures for others can take many forms, from offering a listening ear to a friend in need, to volunteering our time and energy to a worthy cause. The key is to act with a genuine desire to bring happiness and ease suffering without expecting anything in return. One way to cultivate the practice of metta is through loving kindness meditation. In this practice, we sit comfortably and generate feelings of love and kindness towards ourselves, then gradually extend these feelings to others. We can start by visualizing a loved one and offering them wishes of happiness and well-being, then expand our circle of compassion to include friends, acquaintances, and even those with whom we have difficulty. By cultivating a heart filled with loving kindness, we can create a powerful foundation for performing kind gestures for others. Another way to practice metta is through random acts of kindness. These can be simple gestures, like holding the door open for someone, offering a compliment, or paying for the person behind you in line at the coffee shop. By incorporating acts of kindness into our daily lives, we can create a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond our immediate circle of influence. In addition to bringing happiness to others, performing kind gestures has numerous benefits for our own well-being. Research has shown that acts of kindness can increase feelings of happiness and life satisfaction, reduce stress and anxiety, and even improve physical health. By focusing on the needs of others, we can find a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends our own personal concerns. Performing kind gestures can help us break free from the cycle of overthinking by providing a powerful distraction from our own thoughts. When we are fully engaged in helping others, we have less mental space to dwell on our worries and fears. As we cultivate a heart filled with compassion and kindness, we can begin to see our own challenges in a new light, recognizing that they are part of the shared human experience. It is important to remember that the practice of metta is not about self-sacrifice or martyrdom. Rather, it is about cultivating a balanced approach to kindness and self-care. We must also be kind to ourselves, ensuring that we have the physical, emotional, and spiritual resources to support others. By finding a balance between giving and receiving, we can create a sustainable practice of kindness that benefits both ourselves and those around us. Performing kind gestures for others is a powerful practice that can help us break free from overthinking and find a greater sense of peace and contentment. By cultivating a heart filled with loving kindness, we can create a powerful foundation for acts of service and connection, transforming our own lives and the lives of those around us. Lesson 3. Confront your fears. Fear is a natural and universal emotion, one that has served an essential purpose in our evolution as a species. It alerts us to potential dangers and threats, triggering the fight or flight response that helps us protect ourselves and survive. Fear often manifests in ways that are disproportionate to the actual threats we face, leading to patterns of overthinking, anxiety, and stress. Fear is seen as one of the primary obstacles to spiritual growth and inner peace. It is a product of our ignorance and misunderstanding, a result of our inability to see the true nature of reality. By confronting our fears and examining them with wisdom and courage, we can begin to dismantle the mental and emotional barriers that keep us trapped in cycles of overthinking and suffering. The first step in confronting our fears is to understand their true nature. In Buddhism, fear is seen as a form of delusion, a mental construct that arises from our attachment to the illusion of a separate self. This attachment creates a sense of vulnerability and insecurity, as we perceive ourselves to be separate from the world around us and subject to its perceived threats. By recognizing that fear is ultimately a product of our own minds, we can begin to loosen its grip on us. Through practices like mindfulness meditation and self-inquiry, we can develop a deeper understanding of the nature of fear and its roots in our attachment to the illusion of self. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for confronting our fears and overcoming overthinking. By cultivating a non-judgmental awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, we can begin to see our fears more clearly and develop a greater sense of control over them. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to observe our fears without becoming identified with them. We recognize that they are temporary and impermanent, arising and passing away like clouds in the sky. This understanding helps us to develop a more spacious and compassionate relationship with our fears, allowing us to confront them with greater courage and clarity. Fear often arises from a lack of compassion and understanding, both for ourselves and for others. By cultivating compassion, we can begin to soften the edges of our fear and create a more supportive and nurturing environment for our minds and hearts. Practices like loving-kindness meditation and Tonglen are used to develop compassion and empathy. By consciously extending kindness and understanding to ourselves and others, we can begin to dissolve the barriers of fear and separation that keep us trapped in overthinking and suffering. Confronting our fears often involves taking action, even when we feel uncertain or afraid. By stepping out of our comfort zones and facing our fears head-on, we can build courage, resilience, and self-confidence. By connecting with others who share our commitment to growth and transformation, we can find the encouragement, inspiration, and wisdom we need to confront our fears and move forward on our spiritual journey. Through open and honest communication, we can learn from one another's experiences and gain valuable insights into the nature of fear and its role in our lives. Confronting our fears is a crucial step in overcoming overthinking and finding lasting peace and happiness. By understanding the nature of fear, cultivating mindfulness and compassion, embracing uncertainty, taking skillful action, and seeking support and guidance, we can begin to transform our relationship with fear and find the courage to live our lives with greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. Lesson 4. Concentrate on finding solutions. The first step in concentrating on finding solutions is to cultivate a solution-oriented mindset. This means actively choosing to focus on the possibilities and opportunities for growth, rather than becoming mired in the challenges and obstacles that life presents. In Buddhism, this mindset is rooted in the understanding that suffering is an inherent part of the human experience, and that it is our response to suffering that determines our well-being. By embracing this perspective, we can begin to see our problems not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities for learning and growth. To effectively concentrate on finding solutions, we must first develop clarity of mind. A cluttered, agitated mind is ill-equipped to identify and implement effective solutions, as it is constantly being pulled in different directions by competing thoughts and emotions. In Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating mental clarity. By focusing our attention on a single object, such as the breath, we can begin to quiet the mind and develop a greater sense of focus and concentration. The concept of skillful thinking refers to the ability to think in ways that promote well-being and happiness, both for ourselves and for others. Skillful thinking involves cultivating thoughts that are rooted in wisdom, compassion, and understanding, and that contribute to the betterment of our lives and the world around us. By actively engaging in skillful thinking, we can begin to transform our overthinking patterns into more productive and solution-focused thoughts. Reflection is a powerful tool for concentrating on finding solutions, as it allows us to step back from our thoughts and gain a broader perspective on our lives. Reflection is often practiced through contemplation, in which we deliberately ponder a particular question or theme in order to gain insight and understanding. By regularly setting aside time for reflection, we can cultivate a deeper awareness of our thought patterns, identify areas in need of improvement, and develop more effective strategies for overcoming challenges. Our intentions play a crucial role in shaping our thoughts and actions, and in determining the course of our lives. The cultivation of wholesome intentions is considered essential to spiritual growth and well-being. By setting clear, positive intentions for our lives, we can begin to align our thoughts and actions with our values and goals, and create a more solution-oriented mindset. Concentrating on finding solutions is a powerful strategy for overcoming overthinking and cultivating a more balanced, constructive mindset. By embracing the teachings of Buddhism and applying them to our lives, we can develop the skills and insights needed to transform our thought patterns, overcome challenges, and create a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. Lesson 5. Manage your emotions effectively. Managing our emotions effectively is a crucial skill to develop. Emotions are an integral part of the human experience, and they can be powerful forces that shape our thoughts, actions, and overall well-being. When emotions are left unchecked, they can easily become the fuel for overthinking, leading us down a spiral of negative thoughts and feelings. In Buddhism, the practice of managing emotions is rooted in mindfulness, understanding, and non-attachment. The first step in managing our emotions effectively is to cultivate mindfulness, which involves being fully present and aware of our emotional states without judgment. By observing our emotions as they arise, we can begin to understand their true nature and how they influence our thoughts and actions. This awareness is essential in breaking the cycle of overthinking, as it allows us to recognize when our emotions are driving our thought patterns and to take appropriate action to calm the mind. When you find yourself overwhelmed by emotions or caught up in overthinking, remind yourself that these feelings are temporary and will eventually pass. This understanding can help to create a sense of space around your emotions, allowing you to respond to them more skillfully and with greater wisdom. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage and modulate our emotional states, allowing us to respond to situations in a balanced and appropriate way. Our environment plays a significant role in shaping our emotional states, and creating a supportive environment can be an essential part of managing our emotions effectively. By creating a supportive environment, we can foster a sense of emotional balance and stability that helps to break the cycle of overthinking and promotes lasting peace and happiness. Managing our emotions effectively is a vital skill in our journey to stop overthinking forever. By cultivating mindfulness, understanding the impermanence of emotions, developing emotional wisdom, practicing emotional regulation, and creating a supportive environment, we can find greater emotional balance and stability, and ultimately, break free from the chains of overthinking. Lesson 6. Be gentle towards yourself. Self-compassion is a vital component of emotional well-being and mental health, and it plays a crucial role in the Buddhist path to inner peace. By cultivating a kind and understanding attitude towards ourselves, we can begin to heal the wounds of overthinking and create a more spacious and loving inner environment. Buddhism emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings and the fundamental goodness that lies at the core of our nature. Recognizing this inherent worthiness, we are encouraged to treat ourselves with the same care and kindness that we would extend to others. In the words of the Buddha, "You can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself, and that person is not to be found anywhere. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Being gentle with ourselves involves treating ourselves with the same warmth, understanding, and encouragement that we would offer to a dear friend. Instead of criticizing or judging ourselves harshly, we can learn to respond to our struggles with empathy and care. This doesn't mean that we ignore our shortcomings or give ourselves a free pass to engage in unskillful behavior. Rather, it means that we approach ourselves with a spirit of loving acceptance, recognizing that we are all works in progress. Overthinking can often make us feel isolated and disconnected from others, as if we are the only ones struggling with our thoughts and emotions. By acknowledging our common humanity, we remind ourselves that we are not alone in our experiences. All beings face challenges, make mistakes, and encounter difficult emotions. Recognizing this shared human experience can help us to feel more connected and less overwhelmed by our own struggles. Mindfulness is the practice of being present with our experiences, without judgment or reactivity. In the context of self-compassion, mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions with clarity and openness, rather than becoming lost in them. By cultivating mindfulness, we can develop a greater understanding of our own mental processes and respond to our thoughts and emotions with compassion and wisdom. As we learn to be gentle towards ourselves and cultivate self-compassion, we may find that our relationship with overthinking begins to shift. By offering ourselves kindness and understanding, we can create a more spacious and supportive inner environment, one that allows us to navigate our thoughts and emotions with greater ease and clarity. Self-compassion can help us to develop resilience in the face of life's challenges, fostering a sense of inner strength and well-being that extends beyond our immediate circumstances. As we learn to treat ourselves with love and kindness, we may find that we are better equipped to face the ups and downs of life with grace, courage, and equanimity. Being gentle towards ourselves is a vital aspect of overcoming overthinking and cultivating inner peace. By embracing the teachings of Buddhism and practicing self-compassion, we can transform our relationship with ourselves and our experiences, finding the freedom and happiness that lie at the heart of the spiritual path. Ignorance refers to our lack of understanding of the true nature of reality. This ignorance gives rise to a false sense of self, leading us to believe that we are separate and independent entities, disconnected from the world around us. This misunderstanding lies at the heart of our overthinking, as we become consumed by thoughts and worries centered around this illusory self. To gain a deeper understanding of the root of our worries, Buddhism encourages us to examine the 5 aggregates or components that make up our human experience. These aggregates are form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Form refers to our physical body and the material world around us. Feeling arises in response to our sensory experiences, manifesting as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensations. Perception is the process by which we recognize and interpret our experiences, giving rise to the mental labels and categories that shape our understanding of the world. Mental formations encompass the full range of our mental habits, tendencies, and conditioning, including our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Consciousness is the awareness that illuminates our experiences, allowing us to perceive and engage with the world. The Buddha's teachings on the 4 Noble Truths provide a framework for understanding and addressing the root of our worries and overthinking. To identify and address the root of our worries effectively, we must cultivate mindfulness and insight. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment or attachment. Insight, or vipassana, is the clear seeing and understanding of the true nature of reality, gained through direct experience. By developing mindfulness and insight, we can begin to see the patterns and conditioning that give rise to our overthinking and worries. As we gain a deeper understanding of these underlying causes, we can make conscious choices to break free from them and move towards a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Lesson 8. Recognize that awareness leads to progress. The first step in cultivating awareness is to develop a regular mindfulness meditation practice. Mindfulness meditation involves sitting quietly and focusing our attention on a single object, such as the breath, a mantra, or a visualization. As thoughts and emotions arise, we gently acknowledge them and return our focus to the chosen object. Over time, this practice helps us develop the ability to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming lost in them, allowing us to see them more clearly and objectively. As we cultivate mindfulness, we begin to recognize the patterns of overthinking that have been holding us captive. We may notice that our minds tend to dwell on certain themes, such as past regrets, future anxieties, or self-critical thoughts. By becoming aware of these patterns, we can start to see them for what they are: mental habits that do not serve our well-being or happiness. Once we have identified our patterns of overthinking, we can begin to work with them more skillfully. One powerful technique is to label our thoughts and emotions as they arise. For example, when we notice that we are dwelling on a past mistake, we might silently label the thought as regret. By labeling our thoughts and emotions in this way, we create a sense of space and distance between ourselves and our mental experiences, making it easier to let go of them and return our focus to the present moment. Another important aspect of cultivating awareness is to develop a non-judgmental attitude towards our thoughts and emotions. In Buddhism, we understand that all mental phenomena are impermanent and ultimately empty of inherent existence. This means that our thoughts and emotions are not solid, fixed entities, but rather fleeting experiences that arise and pass away in response to changing conditions. By cultivating a non-judgmental attitude, we can begin to see our thoughts and emotions as mere appearances, without becoming overly identified with them or allowing them to define our sense of self. As we continue to cultivate awareness, we may find that our patterns of overthinking begin to lose their power over us. We may still experience thoughts and emotions related to overthinking, but they no longer control our lives or dictate our actions. Instead, we can choose to respond to them with wisdom and compassion, making skillful choices that support our well-being and happiness. One way to deepen our awareness and understanding of overthinking is to investigate its underlying causes. In Buddhism, we understand that suffering arises from three root poisons: ignorance, attachment, and aversion. Ignorance refers to our lack of understanding of the true nature of reality, while attachment and aversion refer to our tendency to cling to pleasant experiences and push away unpleasant ones. By examining our patterns of overthinking in light of these root poisons, we can gain insight into their origins and find more effective ways to address them. For example, we may find that our overthinking is rooted in ignorance of the impermanent and interdependent nature of reality. By cultivating a deeper understanding of these truths, we can begin to see our thoughts and emotions as transient phenomena, arising and passing away in response to changing conditions. This understanding can help us let go of our attachment to certain thoughts or outcomes, allowing us to find greater peace and freedom. We may discover that our overthinking is fueled by attachment to certain desires or fears. By recognizing and acknowledging these attachments, we can begin to work with them more skillfully, cultivating a sense of non-attachment and equanimity that allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and grace. We may find that our overthinking is driven by aversion to certain aspects of our experience, such as uncertainty, vulnerability, or change. By cultivating a willingness to embrace these aspects of life, we can develop greater resilience and flexibility, allowing us to adapt and grow in the face of adversity. Recognizing that awareness leads to progress is a crucial step in overcoming overthinking. By cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness, we can shine a light on the patterns of overthinking and begin to see them more clearly. Lesson 9. Put matters in context. To put matters in context, we must first recognize the impermanence of all things. In Buddhism, this understanding is known as anicca, the truth that everything is constantly changing and that nothing is permanent. When we cling to thoughts, emotions, or experiences, we create suffering for ourselves as we are attempting to hold on to something that is inherently transient. By acknowledging the impermanence of our thoughts and emotions, we can begin to loosen our grip on them, allowing them to arise and pass away without becoming ensnared in their temporary existence. Another crucial aspect of putting matters in context is recognizing the role that our own perceptions play in shaping our experience of reality. In Buddhism, this understanding is known as anatta, the truth that there is no permanent, unchanging self. When we become overly identified with our thoughts and emotions, we create a false sense of self that is separate from the world around us. This illusion of separateness can lead to feelings of isolation, fear, and anxiety, fueling the cycles of overthinking that keep us trapped in our own minds. To break free from this cycle, we must cultivate a deeper understanding of the interconnected nature of all things. This understanding can be developed through practices like mindfulness meditation, which helps us to see the arising and passing away of thoughts and emotions without becoming identified with them. As we begin to recognize the impermanent and interdependent nature of our own mental processes, we can start to see the world around us in a new light, one that is characterized by connection, compassion, and understanding. Loving kindness, or metta, is the wish for all beings to be happy and free from suffering. By cultivating loving kindness in our hearts, we can begin to see the interconnectedness of all beings and recognize that our own happiness is intimately linked to the happiness of others. This understanding can help to soften the edges of our overthinking, allowing us to approach our own thoughts and emotions with greater compassion and understanding. Compassion, or karuna, is the wish to alleviate the suffering of others. When we cultivate compassion, we are actively working to ease the pain and suffering of those around us, recognizing that their suffering is our own. This understanding can help us to put our own worries and concerns into perspective, as we come to see that we are not alone in our struggles and that our own suffering is part of a larger, interconnected web of pain and sorrow. Empathetic joy is the ability to rejoice in the happiness and success of others. By cultivating empathetic joy, we can begin to see the world from a more expansive and inclusive perspective, one that celebrates the accomplishments and well-being of all beings. This understanding can help us to break free from the narrow confines of our own concerns, allowing us to find joy and fulfillment in the happiness of others. Equanimity, or upekkha, is the ability to maintain a balanced and clear mind, even in the face of life's challenges and uncertainties. By cultivating equanimity, we can develop the inner strength and resilience needed to navigate the ups and downs of life without becoming overwhelmed or consumed by our thoughts and emotions. This understanding can help us to put our own struggles into context, recognizing that they are a natural part of the human experience and that we have the capacity to meet them with wisdom and grace. Putting matters in context is an essential aspect of overcoming overthinking. By recognizing the impermanence and interconnectedness of all things, we can begin to see our own thoughts and emotions from a broader perspective, one that is characterized by compassion, understanding, and equanimity. Through practices like mindfulness meditation and the cultivation of the four immeasurable, we can develop the inner resources needed to break free from the cycles of overthinking and find lasting peace and freedom. Lesson 10. Abandon the pursuit of perfection. The pursuit of perfection is a pervasive and insidious force in our lives, driving us to strive for unattainable ideals and setting the stage for endless cycles of overthinking. In Buddhism, the concept of perfection is seen as an illusion, a mental construct that only serves to perpetuate suffering and dissatisfaction. To truly overcome overthinking, we must learn to abandon the pursuit of perfection and embrace the beauty of our imperfections. Perfectionism is often rooted in a deep-seated fear of inadequacy, a belief that we are somehow not enough just as we are. This fear can manifest in many ways, from an obsessive focus on achievement and success to a relentless drive to control and manipulate our circumstances. In the grip of perfectionism, we become trapped in a vicious cycle of self-criticism and self-doubt, constantly comparing ourselves to others and finding ourselves lacking. To break free from this cycle, we must first recognize the futility of the pursuit of perfection. In the words of the Buddha, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. By acknowledging the impermanence and imperfection of all things, we can begin to let go of our attachment to unattainable ideals and find a greater sense of peace and acceptance. One powerful practice for cultivating this understanding is the contemplation of the three marks of existence: impermanence, anicca, unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. By reflecting on the transient nature of all phenomena, the inherent dissatisfaction that arises from our craving and clinging, and the absence of a fixed, independent self, we can gain insight into the true nature of reality and loosen the grip of perfectionism on our minds. Another essential aspect of abandoning the pursuit of perfection is cultivating self-compassion. In Buddhism, self-compassion is seen as a vital component of spiritual growth, enabling us to relate to ourselves with kindness and understanding in the face of our imperfections. By treating ourselves with the same care and concern that we would offer to a dear friend, we can begin to soften the critical inner voice that fuels overthinking and find a greater sense of ease and well-being. One powerful practice for cultivating self-compassion is loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta meditation. In this practice, we systematically extend feelings of love, kindness, and compassion to ourselves, to others, and to all beings without exception. By consciously directing our thoughts and emotions in this way, we can begin to transform our relationship with ourselves and find a deeper sense of connection and belonging. In addition to self-compassion, cultivating gratitude can be a powerful antidote to perfectionism and overthinking. By actively appreciating the blessings and gifts in our lives, we can shift our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, fostering a sense of contentment and well-being. In Buddhism, gratitude is seen as a natural expression of our interconnectedness, a recognition that our happiness and suffering are intimately linked to the happiness and suffering of all beings. To cultivate gratitude, we can engage in practices such as keeping a gratitude journal, in which we regularly reflect on the things we are thankful for, or expressing our appreciation to others through words and actions. By consciously nurturing a spirit of gratitude, we can begin to counteract the negative effects of perfectionism and find a greater sense of balance and peace. Another important aspect of abandoning the pursuit of perfection is learning to embrace failure and setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning. In Buddhism, the challenges and difficulties we encounter in life are seen as valuable lessons, providing us with the opportunity to cultivate resilience, wisdom, and compassion. By adopting this perspective, we can transform our relationship with failure, viewing it not as a sign of our inadequacy, but as a natural and necessary part of the human experience. To cultivate this mindset, we can practice reframing our failures and setbacks as opportunities for growth, actively seeking out the lessons they have to teach us and using them to inform our future actions. By embracing a growth mindset, we can begin to break free from the chains of perfectionism and find a greater sense of freedom and possibility. To truly abandon the pursuit of perfection, we must learn to embrace the present moment, letting go of our attachment to past regrets and future anxieties. The present moment is seen as the only true reality, the one place where we can find genuine happiness and peace. By cultivating mindfulness and presence, we can learn to let go of our perfectionistic tendencies and find a deeper sense of connection and fulfillment. One powerful practice for cultivating presence is mindfulness meditation, in which we focus our attention on a single object, such as the breath, the body, or the sensations of the present moment. By training our minds to stay present and engage with our experience, we can begin to break the cycle of overthinking and find a greater sense of ease and well-being. By recognizing the futility of perfectionism, cultivating self-compassion, gratitude, and a growth mindset, and embracing the present moment, we can find the freedom and peace we seek, transforming our overthinking into a powerful catalyst for growth and awakening. As we journey through these lessons, remember that the path to overcoming overthinking is a gradual one, requiring patience, persistence, and self-compassion. By embracing the teachings of Buddhism and applying them to our lives, we can find the freedom and peace we seek, transforming our overthinking into a powerful catalyst for growth and awakening. May you find the strength and wisdom to walk this path with courage and grace.